This video is sponsored by channel members such as Shaggy Gaming. Thank you. Finally! Now we are getting to the good Mario Kart games, starting with Super Circuit. Alright, so full disclosure, but for the longest time I did not like this game. Why? Because I wasn't the best at it. I couldn't understand the controls at all, and thought it was even more slippery compared to Super Mario Kart. I mean, that's still kinda true, but I guess one look at the controls does wonders to anyone. I need to break the entire time. I'm gonna blow up Tar. But all is in the past. We are here now. I played the game, I enjoyed it, I finally understand it. Yeah, I kinda like this game now compared to back then. So, with this occasion, I'm gonna do something that I don't normally see people do. So this game has a total track count of 20. Alongside that, we also have 20 extra courses, aka Super Mario Kart. God fucking damn it, I cannot escape this shithole. So I'm gonna rank 40 tracks this time. Not unlike everyone who sees Super Mario Kart and pee themselves in fear. I'm a big, brave boy. Dude, I'm not scared. I can do this. It's just Super Mario Kart, but plays differently because it's a different game. Everything will be everything is not okay. Spoiler alert, but the extra tracks sucks, big, fat sucks, suckers. So expect the F-tier to be nothing but sucky, mediocre tracks. Oh yeah, I guess another spoiler alert, but there is no Super Circuit track in F-tier, so good job Super Circuit. So, without further ado, let's get started. Number 14, SNES Bowser Castle 3. Oh wow, no way! The worst track in Super Mario Kart is still the worst track in a discount Super Mario Kart. Just take everything I said in the original ranking, copy and paste it here, and we're gonna add on the fact that there's 0 hazards across the entire map. Yeah, no, there's like nothing. In fact, there's like 0 hazards, 0 speed boosts, 0 jump pads that were there in the original. No bitches. I do not understand why they did this. If you're gonna port Super Mario Kart to Super Circuit, then why not have everything that was already there instead of taking things out of it? Because this track is even worse. The split road jumps are very tiny compared to the original. No speed boosts. In fact, there's no reason why you shouldn't go on the middle path here, because at least you get an item box. Don't even get coins on the other paths. No hazards. In fact, pretty much all the problems I have with Super Mario Kart tracks and Super Circuit can easily be summed up here. Also, worse music as well in my opinion. At other times, these tracks look even worse than the original as well. So, to save some time and get to the stuff that actually matters, let's rapid fire this F tier, shall we? Number 39, SNES Cuphead Beach 2. Looks fucking hideous with those patches of green lilies, I assume, or something, I don't know. Number 38, SNES Cuphead Beach 1. Boring track to play on. Number 37, SNES Donut Plains 3. One interesting thing to note is that they added a jump pad on manual hotbars, so they can add stuff. They chose not to do that because everyone was lazy, I suppose. Point taken, developers. Also, track is weirdly tiny compared to the OG. Number 36, SNES Bowser Castle 2. There's no feather item, which means that the shortcut is no longer a shortcut, meaning it's a meaningless alternate path that leads to your doom. Also, the middle section plays like ass. Number 35, SNES Vanilla Lake 1. I feel like it's even more obnoxious to play compared to the original version. Like, maybe don't do that. Number 34, SNES Ghost Valley 2. They eliminated the speed boost and the jump pad near the end of the track. Also, since there is no feather item, the shortcut, while possible, is extremely awkward to take. Number 33, SNES Bowser Castle 1. Whateverly boring. Number 32, Choco Island 2. The track is very tiny, and also since I like a lot of tracks in here, the main appeal of Choco Island tracks, being the very open nature of them, is neuter here. Number 31, SNES Mario Circuit 3. The curve in the middle that sucks ass. Number 30, SNES Mario Circuit 4. Honk, honk, Number 39, SNES Choco Island 1. Boring. Number 28, SNES Ghost Valley 1. If you take the shortcut, you fall off on the other side, guarantee. All feels extremely stupid. Number 27, SNES Donut Plains 2. The fucking donut that is I don't know, well, it was cool to play in Super Mario Kart. That magic is just lost on future versions of this track. Number 25, SNES Vanilla Lake 2. I feel like even when I play the track properly, I still fall underwater for some reason. I'm a pro gamer, so obviously it is not me. I blame the game. There's nothing I could have done. Number 24, Mario Circuit. Finally, an actual track. Either way, Mario Circuit is pretty bland. It's the obligatory Mario Circuit track that we have to have on the track selection with each entry. Step down compared to Mario Raceway. It's a pretty generic track that has turns, coins, and item boxes, I guess. Bowser Castle 2. Oh great! More variations of Bowser Castle. Starting with the worst one, Bowser Castle 2. It plays like shit. I don't know, the layout is not that exciting. The track is not even the background looks remotely interesting compared to the other variations. Maybe with the exception of Bowser Castle 1. There are a bunch of speed boosts that I don't think anyone would go out of their way to take them, since it doesn't seem worth it. I do appreciate how diverse in a way this track is. Lots of jumps, lots of speed boosts, lots of tight turns, but I feel like this track doesn't really do much with everything else it has to offer. I feel like I want to say more, but I have already said what I need to be said. I guess overall Bowser Castle 2 is pretty forgettable. 22 Peach Circuit, pretty generic tutorial track, something to get you started on the right note and make you understand how the game works in less than a minute. To be fair, in terms of first tracks, this one is alright. SNES Mario Circuit 1 still hasn't been dethroned yet, but this one ranks over Luigi Raceway from N64, so good job for you, Peach. Besides that, it's an extremely shallow track that doesn't have much expert to be a training ground for noobs. 29 SNES Donut Plain Swan. Pretty basic, not much I can say. 20 SNES Rainbow Road. Okay, I'm starting to look like a fake SNES Rainbow Road fan according to these ranking videos. Like I said, if I leave out my bias out of this, then Rainbow Road is interesting. In Super Mario Kart. In Super Circuit, there's no hazards, no jump pads, the road seems to be even more narrow. And worst of all, remember how I said that despite everything the music was still my favorite thing about this track in Super Mario Kart? Yeah, imagine an SNES Rainbow Road but with shit music. This is a travesty! How does someone take the most iconic piece of music in this series and make it shit? 19 SNES Ghost Valley 1. And there are some elements gone, but that's about it. Number 18 Bowser Castle 1. For what it's worth, the thwomps might be fun to dodge, but they are way out of your way, which doesn't make them compelling hazards. I think the most interesting part about this track is this corridor segmented by jump pads with lava in between. Sometimes a lava ball might catch you by surprise, and so you have to quickly scramble to save yourself from spinning out. Yes, there's a mechanic that does that. I think that's neat. But besides that, Bowser Castle 1 doesn't offer much gameplay, so to speak. Number 17, SNES Mario Circuit 2. Fine, the big jump is still retained, and I think the layout works just as good in Super Circuit like it did in Super Mario Kart. Number 16, Sunset Wilds. I do not understand how this track managed to be a fan favorite, or at the very least, a very well liked track in the community. It's just the same old desert track stuff and crap. Yoshi Desert is right there! I don't understand its appraisal. Most of it has to do with the fact that the sun sets. Okay? Does this impact the track in any meaningful way? No. I mean, it looks nice. The transition between sunset and nighttime is pretty cool and also very smooth. So does a track like Boo Lake. Yeah, Boo Lake transitions from nighttime to daytime and then back to nighttime. Did you know that? I do like the tikis with Shy Guys in them, and if you hit one of them, then a Shy Guy will berate you for destroying their humble abode and will continue to chop coins out of you, which is fun. Doubly so, because this section has plenty of speed boosts here, so if you get caught into one of these, then pray to the Lord you don't get boosted onto different halls. But overall, Sunset Wilds is a pretty alright track that has some interesting elements, but they don't have much when the rest of the track is just driving through a generic desert land. Number 15, Snowland. I won't be so for real with everyone here. I don't get why everyone makes a big deal about the screen shaking. It's not that bad. It isn't that intrusive an effect, so what's with the outcry? Maybe back away from the screen? Maybe that would help. Besides the infamous screen shaking gimmick that doesn't have much to score, Snowland doesn't really have much going on for it. The funniest part about this track is just this straight line of 50 billion coins on this part of the track. Why do they put every coin imaginable, like right here, and only right here? That's kind of funny. Besides that, it has a couple of turns here and there. You have to dodge the snowman, but they don't have as much of a deadly effect compared to Frappe Snowland. There are penguins as well, which act similarly, but they make you spin out unless you recover from that. There's also ice lakes that if you touch them, then you will spin off. This gives the opportunity to take more tighter cuts through the race, while also not spinning off into the oblivion. I like that. I heard people say a deluxe's version made Snowland amazing. Back then, I felt like this was the consensus. I don't know if it still holds water in the community, but if you ask me, they took a fine course and made it another fine enough course. Snowland is just born to be mid and nothing else. We will get there when we will get there. Trust me, this time I will rank the 8 deluxe tracks unlike last time. Number 14, Shy Guy Beach. A nice enough beach course. It's the second track in the entirety of the game, so I didn't really expect much from this one. The crabs aren't that much of a nuisance, if I'm being honest. The bombs that the pirate ship in the background shoots aren't that deadly most of the time. It's a fine enough track that doesn't really do anything wrong, but it doesn't do too much right. I like the music this one has. It is very soothing and very relaxing and fits the tropical vibe. But again, I associate this song with a different track that I think does what Shy Guy Beach sets out to do much better. Number 13, Riverside Park. This might be the most complex Mushroom Cup track we had up until this point. Look at that layout! The track itself isn't really that difficult, but it has so many twists and turns that you don't normally see in a Mushroom Cup track. That's pretty neat. This track has you jumping all over the place, makes you cross the water at high levels of speed, and plenty of turns to keep me entertained start to finish. Good stuff. It doesn't only get stale for every second you race, which is amazing that they managed to do so much. That being said, it's still a track in the Mushroom Cup, so despite the jumps, the Jesus walks, the turns, and all that fancy schmancy, it's still a pretty simple track that doesn't really have a whole lot on it. Test your driving skills, which I appreciate, and I think it excels at doing that. Music is decent, I like the saxophone part, that part is pretty darn good. Number 12, Boo Lake. I like that Boo Lake opens up with 2 giant jumps in a consecutive row. That was exhilarating, and then a sudden sharp turn as well. This track means business from what I see. Boo Lake has a pretty intense opening, but it fizzles out as you drive through it, which makes it a bit weird and gave me some difficulty whiplash. The rest of the track is still fun, but man, that first bit was something. I like the fact that you don't have to take a mushroom to do this little shortcut, which honestly, why wouldn't you do it? The fact that this will become the main route over the much wider part of the actual track route is kind of silly. Like, this little bridge offers more interesting gameplay, so you have to be careful to not drive off it, but there's also no reason to not take the bridge every single time. Also, I want to comment this, but Boo Lake transitions from nighttime to daytime and then back to nighttime. Why doesn't anyone talk about this as well? A track that transitions from night to day and back to night seems pretty cool, especially because it is attached to a spooky theme track. Also, dear game, please inform me of this supposed lake that you mentioned in the title of this course, because I don't see any lakes around here. In fact, I don't see any water. It's just blackness. Number 11, Broken Pier. Broken Pier is obviously better than Boo Lake. I always love the background of this track. First of all, much better than Boo Lake, and I think the music is also much fitting for this one. Those mountains have a cool design around them, it looks scary, but also looks badass in a way. It kinda makes me want to explore inside of those spooky, scary mountains. The track itself also seems like a much harder version of Boo Lake. Now, the reason why I keep comparing the two of them is because they feel pretty similar in terms of theming. Boardwalk tracks, same music, look, they might as well be the same track. I think it's much more fun because of the abundance of jump pads that allow you to, you guessed it, jump! You can take pretty risky jumps. There are some insane shortcuts that have an extremely big chance of failure. There are boos that steal your money whenever you drive under them. What little shits. They're pretty good hazards in my opinion. In general, Broken Pier feels like a much more dangerous, thrilling version of Boo Lake, and it's why I ranked it over that one. Broken Pier is pretty cool. Number 10, Bowser Castle 4. God damn, does the background for this track look so nice. Is that the Bowsenheimer? Bowser Castle 4 has the most intricate layout out of all the Bowser Castle tracks in this game. Kinda impressive to see how complex a track in a 2D plane can get. And we can really see that with the beginning portion of the track, where you dodge these lava pools. And what's cool is that you can jump over them. Like, that's pretty fun. Lots of sharp turns here and there and everywhere, with enough adequate pause breaks in between all the craziness that is occurring. This is also the same track where they use Mecha Koopas as enemies to dodge. Why didn't we get more of these fellas used in other tracks? The thwomps are placed perfectly well, and this zipper path here is a little bit chicanerous. Also, I wouldn't say it is a particularly long track or anything, but compared to everything else, I think it's safe to say that this is the longest track in the game. Yet, they crammed so many things in a 2-minute track. That's pretty nuts. But also, I want to go back to the background like, hello, look at this giant bump in the background. This looks so cool. Number 9, Bowser Castle 3. but ultimately, I'm gonna rank Bowser Castle 3 over 4 because while the layout isn't as complex as 4, I think 3 makes up for a still pretty challenging track and layout, but also the background is better. Most of the time, we associate Bowser with lava, and what color is lava most of the time? Red and orange. So to see purple buildings in the background, and not just in the background, but a bluish road accompanied by stormy weather makes for a surprisingly fresh interpretation of Bowser. In general, I think the layout is also pretty good. It's a lot of fun to drive through this one. I feel like it has the simpleness of Bowser Castle 1 at times, the diversity of Bowser Castle 2, and the not as but still complex layout of Bowser Castle 4. Strange how the third version felt like a culmination of every Bowser Castle track in this game, but whatever. Oh yeah, before I forget to mention, Kamek is in this track. What does he do? I don't know. He's there and he's keeping company, so thank you for watching over us, I guess. Overall, while I didn't talk much about the gameplay, I feel like it can be chalked up to it's pretty fun. If you know how to play the game, you know what you're doing. Number 8, Lakeside Park. If Riverside Park is just a guy, then Lakeside Park is the cooler guy and brother. Both of these tracks are pretty similar, but the difference between them is night and day in terms of gameplay and difficulty. I think it's kind of funny if you drift too wide here, then you get sent to a previous part of the track. Like, what are we doing? It's like getting trolled by someone on the internet. You want to know the best part about this? It can still come back from this huge setback, unless you fuck it up again. Like, that's the most insane thing about this. It feels like it's over, but it isn't really. Now, of course, not everyone will like this and will probably say that's a bit too much, but I digress. This makes for a surprising difficulty race and also tests your reaction time and drifting skills. I also like the lava balls as obstacles. They're surprisingly pretty well telegraphed. Just pay attention to all the spots on the road, because that's where they will land. I actually like this very much. It also features a pretty ballsy shortcut, and the most banging music that just gives me more of a reason to love saxophones. All in all, Lakeside Park is a solid racetrack. Number 7, Luigi Circuit. Finally, Luigi, my man, my brother, my fella, finally, after all this time, got a track with his name on it. What? What are you talking about? Luigi Raceway doesn't count because this sucks ass. Shut up! I love how twisty this track can be at times. It is pretty damn fun. Yeah, it is a circuit track, but I feel like it's one of the more notable ones that everyone should sing their hype in regards to. It is very unfortunate that Luigi Circuit doesn't get to have its own song, but instead, because, you know, it has circuit in the name, they felt obligated to use the circuit theme. Don't get me wrong, the circuit theme is really good. I really like it, but I kinda wanted a new song. Also, rain therefore. I mean, rain is the best weather, and everyone who says so is a moron. I love when it rains outside, especially at night when I go to sleep and I hear rain outside. It is a very soothing sound, and the rain magic has been lost in video games. Notably, Resident Evil 2 Remake makes excellent use of the rain. I'm getting a little bit off topic. The point is, the rain here gives this track a lot in terms of visuals and gameplay. In terms of visuals, it gives it a lot of character in a way that I can't really describe it, and most importantly, it makes the track stand out in a neat way. In terms of gameplay, we get rain puddles, we can hop over them, which I mean, hopping over something is actually pretty fun to do in this game, and this is no exception. Oh yeah, I also like the blimp. Fun track to drive through, a clear identity, and overall a moody track makes Luigi Circuit a standout and one of my favorite circuit tracks in the series. Number 6, Chip Chip Island. When I say that I love beach tracks, I love tracks like this one right here. Chip Chip Island fills me with so much tropical paradise eye candy that I can't help but not rank it pretty high. Even besides the vibes, I think this is extremely solid as a race course. The crabs here feel much better utilized compared to Shy Guy Beach. It has a couple of turns here and there, but the standout sections are bridges, because sometimes you can take a nasty cut with them since they're surrounded by water. Many times you can get away with driving almost through the water, but that final bridge section, man, that is one dangerous boardwalk. I like the split road, even though I don't think it provides that much value, but after that the logs on the side are no longer there to help you, and if you drive off the course, then you drown. The fact that this is towards the end of the race means that based on how well you played this game, this section can potentially destroy your entire career. It doesn't help that it gets pretty tight towards the end as well. That sunset, or sunrise, is drop dead gorgeous. I think this looks better than Sunset Wild as Sunset. Kind of a missed opportunity to have the giant Chip Chip in the background do something on the track, but I can chalk that up to hardware limitations. A real shame this has never been remade in the future. Nope, nuh-uh, it never ever came back in a future game. Totally. Number 5, Yoshi Desert. 1 for 2 in terms of desert tracks W. Yoshi Desert is actually such a great time. Sure, the layout might be not as good as anyone would expect, but playing through this track proves to be quite enjoyable. There are a couple of speed boosts that might catch you off guard, especially this one since you have to quickly jump over the blocks twice in quick succession. The piranha plants can be pretty deadly on this track since they're placed in quicksand, so automatically if you drive through quicksand, then get ready for a quick munch. Honestly, the best part about these obstacles is that they don't give you a major setback. Yeah, it's still a noticeable setback, but you're back in the race in no time, which I really appreciate. It also features a pretty cool song that is nice to jam to from time to time, as well as the coolest background to ever grace me specifically, Yoshi Sphinx, my beloved. Look at my boy, Yoshi! I would honestly vote Yoshi to be the president and Luigi be the vice president. Am I cooking? Because I sure as hell wanna live in that world. Number 4, Sky Garden. You know, a while back during the skill issue era, I didn't rate Sky Garden that highly. Mainly because it was a bit too much. I find this track kinda neat and nothing more. The track layout isn't anything to write home about, but it's mainly the music and the theme behind it that carry this one. Music is stellar, generally feels like you're in a magical world of sorts. The theme is that we are up in the sky, and that's kinda cool. Sky levels are fascinating because you can do a lot of interesting things with the concept, and the idea of it, driving on a magic beanstalk is pretty creative, with giant vines growing from the sidelines as well as in the background. Also, this track features some cool shortcuts that are pretty cool. You don't see these kinds of shortcuts in your average Mario Kart track, so it's nice that Sky Garden has these. Yes, these are just mushroom shortcuts, but they also require more player input, like jumping on those clouds. Sky Garden is a nice enough track that features a solid layout, amazing music, great theme, interesting shortcuts, and also made me be even more mad at myself because the track isn't that difficult, yet this felt like a Kaizo mod back when I first played this game. I mean, it didn't help that I jumped to 150cc rather quickly, but I also didn't really understand much about the game and its controls. Now, with newfound knowledge, I can look at Sky Garden retrospectively and think of it as a good track. It's not the best, obviously, but it is pretty ethereal in a way. Number 3, Rainbow Road. I'll be so real with you. In 2025, obviously, I wouldn't say this track is underrated now that a lot of people made ranking videos on these silly Mario Kart tracks. But unless the conversation might involve Super Circuit, I still don't see this game's version of Rainbow Road that often. Like, this has to be one of the best Rainbow Roads ever made up until this point. I like the gimmick behind it, the jump pads make for a pretty interesting concept, and I think they executed that idea pretty flawlessly. It's really fun to drift onto a jump pad and jump to the other side of the road, effectively becoming shroomless shortcuts. Ah fuck, I mentioned a competitive term, I'm cooked, chat. I'm gonna take Mario Kart super seriously from now on, and I'm gonna become a competitive Andy who will talk nonsense for the rest of my life, or something like that. This goddamn shortcut right here, this is what taking drugs and gambling feels like. You have to perfectly position yourself on this speedy road and quickly maneuver midair to take the biggest shortcut I've ever seen in Mario Kart. That is actually intended to be a shortcut. Go away, Mario Kart Wii. The amounts of adrenaline rush you get by successfully pulling this off is staggering, and I fucking love it for that. The hazards here are not that effective. I've never ever been hit by a stormy little cloud or a twinkle little star. But the music, oh my god, the music, masterpiece. Better than pretty much every Rainbow Road song in the series, except for Super Mario Kart's version of Rainbow Road, as well as a deluxe's rendition of SNES Rainbow Road. You know, I think in a way, Mario Kart World could have been a perfect game to have this as a retro track considering the mechanics it introduced, but oh well, here's hoping for DLC. This track is extremely twisty and get pretty scary at certain intervals, which is why I love this track so much and why it deserves the bronze medal. Number 2, Rainbow Road. I mean, we know Mario Kart's version of Rainbow Road is phenomenal, but the OG version is just as good. This track is more fast-paced compared to everything else purely because of the abundance of speed boosts, and nailing each and every single one of them is pretty damn satisfying if you ask me. I didn't manage to do it, but hey, my hypothesis still stands, right? This is also such a creative theme. We are in a world full of presents. That's so cute. The layout accommodates the speed boost pretty well. I feel like most of the time it was more so the player's fault for not utilizing the speed boost properly than the track's fault. Now, sure, not everyone will like this kind of gameplay. It might be a bit too crazy because this game's controls are not as slippery as Super Mario Kart's controls, but they still are. Music is also adorable. This track can also be bouncy at certain times, and that can be a detriment sometimes, which is really nice to see this level of depth in a simple 2D track. I don't really have much to say, but again, River Road is a track that's kind of simple if you think about it, but the reason why it's loved so much is because of the heavy carrying that the theme is doing, but also the fun gameplay behind it, and the magic behind hitting speed boosts consecutively is generally pretty cool. And at number 1, Cheeseland. I'm sure many saw this coming from a mile away. I mean, it just makes sense. Cheeseland's greatest strength is its fucking name, Cheeseland. Hell yeah, that sounds like a good time. Cheeseland is mostly comprised of cheese. No way! And they have excelled amazingly at doing this concept to a T. It is literal perfection. I don't think I've had any problems with this track whatsoever. They nailed everything. They got everything right. Track layout is interesting and pretty fun. I like the mouses as obstacles, it fits the theme, and they can be pretty unexpected at times. I love cruising through the off-road with a star, genuinely satisfying. Background looks pretty neat as well, and the music makes me ascend to heaven. Holy moly, this has to be a masterclass in music making, surely. I love how they incorporate my sound effects into the mix as well, and overall, it is just the catchiest and most amazing music you can make on a tiny handheld. Well done, guys. The track itself is also really fun. Turns are pretty light, but require some user input from the player. Obstacles are top tier, music is peak, everything about this track is amazing, and I love it. And I want to taste the cheese on this track, and I want to eat cheese. I'm hungry for cheese! And with that, this ranking is over. Here's a tier list. Make it quick, because I'm happy I get to play Double Dash once again! Ever since I started doing this shit, the one thing I wanted to play, the one thing that I desperately craved while I was playing Super Mario Kart, it was to play Double Dash again, and goddamn, I finally get the chance to do that. Stay tuned for the next ranking video where I get to find out if I think Baby Park is humanity's greatest achievement or an overrated sin. Tune in next time. Have a... Wait, hold up. I didn't say anything about this game in this outro. Super Circuit is cool, I guess. That's all. Have a nice day.